Hi everybody. You know, it's a special day when you get a guitar in a box here at Willie's Guitars. Every day is special here at Willie's American Guitars. We just got in, after a long 2-year wait, this Collings. So the Collings I-35, because they're right off Highway 35, is patterned, admittedly, on an Gibson ES-335, except this guitar is shorter by an inch. So here is our 1965 ES-335, and here's the Collings I-35. And you can see the difference, especially if I were to hold it up like this, you can see that this guitar is shorter in that way. The scale length is about the time. Now, anytime you're out looking at guitars, you may want to pay attention to the details. When you get into the Gibson, especially a vintage like this is a 1965 Gibson. And as I've told you before, 65 is a year that they did 3 things. They did a headstock pitch, which brought it from 17 degrees to 15 degrees, okay? They did a wider nut. They went from 1 11/16, and then they made it smaller, late in 65. And then they went from nickel to chrome. And this guitar has a nickel bridge, where you can see it's kind of yellowed, and a chrome tailpiece that you can see is kind of blue. You get used to it after a while. You can see it from across the room, but at first people look at that and they're like, what? Now, I'm playing through this Magnetone panoramic stereo with 2 10-inch speakers. The Gibson with his patent sticker pickups, which sound a lot like patent applied for pickups. When they got the patent, they put the number on there, and those are patent stickers, and they do have the upper mid-range sound. The Gibson, with its patent sticker pickups, is really an investment grade guitar. This guitar is almost $17,000. Just a few years ago, it was selling for quite a bit less than that, but these investment grade guitars are investments, and they tend to go up in value. And looking at the details, you see it has a bound neck, a one-piece Honduran mahogany neck, and then these are always, all 335s are laminated. It's a specially made lamination that Gibson makes inside the factory that actually laminates 3 pieces of wood together, kind of like a plywood. And that prevents it from feeding back. And you can feel this neck is very rounded. Now, the Collings, which we just got in, being an LC is laminated construction. They make a solid wood version of this guitar, but the LC Deluxe is a lot of the features of the very expensive solid wood version, in that it has ivoroid, specially made ivoroid pickup rings. It is ivoroid binding here, and when you sit down with the guitar, you really should pay attention to the neck, the feel of the neck, the details of the guitar. Is anything sticking out? And you can see the ivoroid, and maybe the camera can catch up here. It's actually imitation elephant ivory, and it has a grain to it, and it just looks cooler. They've been making this for a long time. The ivoroid is also evident on the body binding, neck binding, headstock binding, and these rings are made of ivoroid as well. A detail that takes a lot of extra effort. And then look at those knobs. Those knobs are also ivoroid knobs and custom made by them, and they do all these details. It's just crazy. And I've said this before about Collings. When you look at the Gibson, the headstock is just cut straight across. But the Collings has the steeper neck headstock pitch, and the Collings is also, the haircut headstock is angled, and it is fatter here, or thinner here, fatter here. Look again at the Gibson, and you can see the Collings has more depth to it at the bottom. What that does is actually bring the strings back at a greater angle, creates more mass here. That's why they do it. They take the time to do it. And at home, imagine, if you will, you're making this neck, and you want to make this thinner here, fatter here, cut it at an angle so it doesn't go straight across like a cookie cutter, bind it with ivoroid binding, and you can get a sense of the detail that they put into this. Plus, as you wear it, it's an inch shorter here, so this is why people will wait 2 years for these Collings. These Lawler pickups are low wind pickups, meaning they're trying to simulate the sound of the Gibsons. Now, they have a little more body to the lower end too. You get a little more that bottom end, that roundness to it. These tend to have a little more that upper mid-range, sounding a little more Fender-like, but these Collings still have that brightness. They clean up beautifully well. The pots are a little different than you'd find. The capacitors to roll off the tone are different than you find on a vintage instrument. The scale length is about the same. It is a 1 11/16 inch neck on both necks. I remember talking to a dealer one time that was a huge dealer, and they said they carried both Gibson and Collings, but they really carried the Gibson so they could show people how great Collings was. And when you get into the little details, look at the wood grain on the back of that one-piece neck. The cut of the neck, how it tapers off, even how the heel tapers off here. There's so many little details and so much geometry on these that make them magnificent guitars. Not only that, if you look at the flame on the guitar too, this being a laminated construction, this is really gorgeously flamed with its cherry sunburst on the top, kind of a tobacco sunburst, and its fully tobacco-y walnut on the back, and the ivoroid binding that comes up, yet it's tapered off. This is a magnificent instrument. We just got it in. It came into us like this. All its little details on it. It's all ready to go. This will be on the website soon, and worthy of your consideration. If you've been looking around for a Collings and waiting for a Collings I-35, it's been a long wait. It has been 2 years. And here we go. I'll hold that up one more time and say goodbye.